Looks like I'm in very friendly company today, so thank you very much for attending this session. I hope we get a few more people. The session is the need for access to finance, USAID Jordan and partner accomplishments in saving water, and the need for additional tools. I should have said a need for additional financial tools, because that's the focus of what we'll be discussing. And we're starting out with presentations from two projects which have gathered quite a few accomplishments that we'd like to highlight. And after those two, they've actually, through the accomplishments and experiences that we've gained from the Mercy Corps project and the EcoConsult project on hydroponics, we've run into a wall. We need basically to identify other methods to bring access to finance to rural communities. So that brings us to Beth Adler from the Development Credit Authority, who will be speaking about different ways to do so. And then I'm going to do a wrap-up presentation. So briefly, Rania Zubi, she's the Chief of Party for the Mercy Corps project, which is a $27 million project that is run in two phases from 2006 to 2015. It's ending this year. And it basically works with community-based organizations, and I saved the rest for her, but I want to mention that she has 14 years of development experience here in Jordan, 4 years with CARE and the rest with Mercy Corps. She's a real workhorse, and we've really enjoyed working together over the course of the last several years. And I'd also like to point out that Rob Maroney is here. Rob, thanks for coming. He's the country director for Mercy Corps. Raed Daoud, right behind Rob, is the CEO for EcoConsult, and he'll be presenting the second paper. He's our planner. He's been involved with master planning and strategic planning in Jordan and the region for many, many years. For example, he's been involved with the water and wastewater utilities sector reform that we've heard about here in Aqaba this week. He was involved with master planning at Aziza, the Aqaba Special Economic Zone Authority. He's also helped with the Aqaba Business Plan, and he's been involved deeply with the Institutional Support and Strengthening Project that had a session yesterday, which was excellent. He's helped to advise in other USAID efforts like the Network for Water Centers of Excellence, and it was one of the best connected people here in the country, so it helps us out on lots of different issues. Beth Adler she's coming from a Washington-based organization, the Development Credit Authority. She's got a BA from Brown University and a master's degree in international economics and international relations from SAIS, the School of Advanced International Studies at Johns Hopkins. So she's going to be a real help to our future plans, and we're hoping to solicit a lot of feedback from all of you. For myself, I've been working for USDA, and ICARDA for about 10 years each, and I've spent about 18 years in the region in Morocco, Syria, Egypt, and Jordan. So let me first point to Rania and get us started with her presentation on the accomplishments from the Mercy Corps project. It's called the Community-Based Initiative for Water Demand Management. Rania, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Where is the mouse? How can I start the presentation? Okay. It's working. Yeah, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I would like to share our experience in Mercy Corps with you and this morning. Community-based initiative for water demand management, as Scott said, in its final year, and it will finish this year by August. But let me start with giving a little bit background about Mercy Corps. Mercy Corps is an international NGO, works in more than 45 countries in the world, and have offices in there. We start working in Jordan since 2002. Basically, our work in two folds. The first one is more development and working on projects that enhance people livelihoods. The second, we focused also on emergencies and respond to natural and man-made disasters. In Jordan, we work on actually the both, in focusing in water and energy management in Jordan in one part, development and youth engagement in public life and participate in advancing their communities. And the second, we work with people with disabilities and emergencies in camps with refugees in Azraq and Zaatari camp. The project, as Scott mentioned, started in 2006, had a long period of time. It was extended twice. The first from 2006 till 2011, no-cost extension had been done, and also we got an extension for 20 million from 2013 till this year. So 2 years is the bulk of the money. Now, Jordan, you know, is a scarce water country. There's a lot of efforts and work from the ministry to work on the supply side and providing more water to the citizens, but at the same time we have to look into the water demand management. You saw that from this table you can notice that 39% of the consumption is on the domestic side, and there's a great potential to work on rationalize the use of water and use it more efficiently at that level. So from there we started the project thinking of we need to tackle that on the ground level. The community-based initiative for water demand management goal is to empower and enable communities in rural Jordan to address water scarcity by improving water use efficiency and water availability, especially in the community level. If you can notice, we work on all of these locations, and if you see, we are following the more intense population zones. The objective of the project, we have 3 objectives. I will focus on one of them today in the presentation, but it's in overall, we have 3 main objectives. The first is build the capacity of 175 community-based organizations to become more involved in water demand management and practices in the community. Second is build the community capacity, expanding their work, especially the CBOs, in water resources management through the adaptation and implementation of water, and we include here a little bit renewable energy management to some sense related project. The third one, we focus in the new cost extension, the big one, 20 million, on improving some of the supply part in the north especially, because we have additional demand and efficiency won't really be enough in the interventions in the north. So we added some of the infrastructure work in the target communities. We work closely with Yarmouk Water Company in this sense. What we aspire to improve or to have at the end of this project is increased quantity of quality of water availability in rural settings through managing the resources better or managing the demand better in the households or the small level. The second is increasing water use efficiency at the household and small farm level, and that's interconnected with the first impact we seek for. The third is we would love to involve people more in this equation, in water management. It's not just requesting for government solution and supplies, it's also that people have to be more participatory in this approach by increasing their awareness, their capacity to engage, and involvement in, as a community leaders and end users in this balance between demand and supply. And I think we need to work more on this in the future beside the supply and infrastructure products. The fourth impact we seek also is to increase community resilience toward resources scarcity and ability to adapt to external stressors. We know that Jordan over its time, at least the last 2 decades, had more and more people coming in. It's initially, chronically, water is a problem in Jordan, but recently it's become more intense with the new comers or new demand on the resources. So we're trying in this approach to have more resources at the household or at the lower level, in the community and in the household, to be more resilient to shocks and problems in the future. And finally, to provide replicable, successful cases in communal water and energy resource management. As much as big as project, it cannot solve all the problems. It's just giving an example and tackling some of the issues, how to start to work in that level, smaller level. And actually, it gives a case that we need to work on water demand management more, not just looking into infrastructure, I said, as a strategy for Jordan. Now, there is these objectives is being implemented through three sets of activities. The first one is we work and give grants to establish revolving loan funds for water in the CBOs, small level. The second one is we work in the communal for grants, 256 grants to implement communal water and energy projects. And the third, as I said, we improve supply through some of the big infrastructure, like connecting new wells or treatment plants, or even network rehabilitation in some of the areas. Now I will focus, as I said, this presentation is around how to find financial mechanism in the community to improve this wave of water demand management, how to engage more people with such mechanism in the community. So the first one, I will talk about the established revolving loan funds. What's the purpose? The purpose of this intervention is to provide local communication and financial instrument to the CBOs to talk about water demand management and to provide the means to implement these projects. We work with the CBOs that, you know, water is everybody's business. Everybody should be part of that equation. Now, how can CBO be involved? We try to think about how, as a small organization that works mainly in different charitable or voluntary activities, be more involved in more of systematic water management. So we think about building their capacity, working on that. And the second thing is providing a grant so that when they preach or talk about or promote for water demand management project, they can provide the means to implement these through loans to the local community. It's near, it's cheap, it's quick, and it's affordable in the community sense. So we give trained 175 CBOs in project management and loan management. That's two different things. And also we added communication and outreach techniques in order to do awareness and engage more people in that. The second, we provided grants to each CBO to start a revolving loan fund or microfinance in the sense to give for these investments. The third is CBOs provide loans it varies from $500 to $2,000 to implement the projects with household providing contribution to each project. We do not fund totally or give loans on the total cost of the project because we believe that the people have to contribute to have this sense of ownership. Whether they pay the whole amount with this revolving loan at the end, when they finish, it's paid all by themselves, but from the beginning to feel that it's part, it's needed, it's responsible action, they have to contribute at least 25% of the project cost in any sense. Some of them is labor, and some of them is more in cash contribution. On the CBO and in the beneficiary level. Till now, since 2006, we gave 177 grants. Our target was 155 CBOs or grants. We had worked more with additional funding. Averaging the revolving loan fund itself, it's around $20,000 US or 14,000 JDs. The total funding of this part is 4.5 million, the initial investment from USAID. Till now, it's actually more. Now it's 10,000 household or small project were implemented at the household. This is from November reporting period. Around 50,000 direct beneficiaries from these small projects. The repayment rate from 2006 till now was fluctuating, but mostly we're in a good sense. Till now, it's 93% in average for all CBOs, 177 revolving loan, and I think it's an amazing number. The initial fund is 4.5. It was the cost of project given or implemented in the community was 2.5 times of the initial cost. So 4.5 million till now, it's been turned over twice, the amount of money. So it's a good investment to start with. Till now, from only the small projects, only this part, around 810,000 cubic meter were harvested or saved through water harvesting, especially. Now, the types of project is implemented, these around 10,000, is distributed. We start a discussion with the CBOs and find the community needs, and based on that, they select kind of the project they want to give loans on, one type for each CBO, till they fulfill the demand. So most of the CBOs, as you saw, select to implement water harvesting cisterns and reservoirs. There's some pictures about these structures. The second one mostly is water tanks, replacing old leaky water tanks, especially in the poor areas, poverty, with the residential network maintenance or plumbing system in the household replacement. Drip irrigation we gave also some of the loans or implemented some projects. Solar water heaters was added in some sense because there's a relationship and there's an increasing demand in the community. So mostly these are at the household or small farm level. How we work this, how we started the process, we work with local partners. So we start with, at the national level, Jordan River Foundation and Royal Scientific Society as a main partner for us in this project. Also, USAID is a big, in addition to be the funder, he is also a big partner in implementation and thinking about the improvement of the project. So we start with the governor office of the local community, that's a local partnership, starting discussion, inviting people. We give awareness. We talked about our objective because it's not easy to start with a revolving loan fund. It's always related to microfinance, income generating activity. It's not something usual to have it for like a fixed asset buying, like a water harvesting cistern. So we start with our awareness about our work, and we open the door for CBOs to send their requests or applications. And that's very important because willingness and showing that the CBOs are interested in working with you differs a lot. That shows how they are seeking the opportunity, and that show how will they commit in the future. Around 600, more than 600 applications we got through the first 5 years or 6 years. From them, we selected the 177. And it's a competition. We have a committee from USAID, Mercy Corps, the national partners, the key ministries, Ministry of Water and Irrigation, Ministry of Social Development, Jordan Cooperative Corporation. They are the advisory committee who kind of help us in the direction how we work in the project and in selecting the beneficiaries at the end, because it's a competition and we need to filter and select. We ask the CBOs in part of their thinking in the community and engaging other people to start with some participatory approaches like problem tree analysis to when they select the project and see what is the most needed in the community so that in the future demand will be still generating in these communities. Sustainability is a very important part of what we think of. When we started working with the CBOs, we were thinking about how to engage the CBOs in the sense that they do not use their power, especially if you give them the signatory authority from the beginning. It can be a little bit risky. But from the start, we started this. They signed the contracts, they started the work, and that's part of that this is their project from the beginning. So that's to enhance their engagement. We worked in building the capacity in different trainings. I talked about community contribution in cash and in kind, whether it is the CBO or the beneficiary. Also, it's investment in the household. So it is something that people will be part for 25 years. Like a water harvesting system is a long-term investment, and we show the benefits of that. There is what show us that there will be a sustainability, that there is a long waiting list in some CBOs for the grants to get it. So there's between 5 and to sometimes 90 on waiting to get a new loan. And the amount of proposal submitted shows how the CBOs promote for their work for other CBOs, because we still have, till now, get some applications out of the calls because they want to have like their neighbors or their peer organizations. Also, we sign a contract. It's kind of a grant, so there is a responsibility held between us and the CBOs. It's two partners, so we sign contracts that illustrates each role. We highlight the event to show more for the CBOs that this is a good opportunity and it is a good way of working, and in the future to think about water as a resource, as a way of funding new initiatives in water management. In the CBO, they should start with loan management committee so that they can take decisions. We help them, direct them in the beginning. We help them by procedures. We also developed a loan management manual that they can use in implementing the project. And we help them in implementing a bit by bit, but the committee is responsible to do the decisions. The kind of formal training that they got: proposal orientation workshop, loan management manual training, technical training on the type of projects, like how is the size of a cistern, how construct, what is the environmental procedure that they should follow if they use it in the household, the water. What is the best design for irrigation, especially in a garden level, a small one, and how to do that. They took business 1 and 2, the CBOs, to increase their capacity to manage such financial instrument and even to engage more people in the community. And on the job training, we have our field staff go and mentor one by one, like they implement the manual for the first bunch, first loan requester, I don't know, the kind who ask for loans, and they work with them bit by bit. Then we leave them and check time by time what happens with the CBO, if they want support or are they in the correct way. As I said, follow-up visits, it's to make sure that they are going in the direction that we discussed about. CBOs have to send monthly reports of their progress and how they work on the revolving loan. That shows how their capacity were built, or if they have shortage in some of the activities that they have to do, or request some support in some activities. Monitoring and evaluation is very important, that we have CBOs gather together and actually have discussions about what is the best in implementing, how we are implementing, how we can support each other, what kind of training, because peer-to-peer is much more important than a lecturer or a professor talk to people. It's how they learn together and how they share their knowledge. Also, part of it, peer-to-peer visits, is a very important tool that we use, that CBOs go to see successful or not successful activities in the same project, like other revolving loan mechanism, or actually outside project so that they can understand better that there is more to do in this domain.